Hey, all right, let's get started. Okay, so the scariest thing or scariest thoughts I ever had wasn't about failing, believe it or not. It was about succeeding, hitting the milestones that I had set, checking the boxes, this proverbial boxes that you check when you aspire to be successful or when you're told that this is the way to be successful. Well, the scariest thought for me was not about failing, it was about succeeding and hitting the milestones, checking every box, realizing though that at the end of the day, this is the scary part, or this was the scary part, that I still felt disconnected. Excuse me. And what if I never stopped the pretense, stopped the performing? Because I remember one day chatting with a friend at a restaurant, um, and we were sharing, she was someone that I looked up to. We're sharing like what we, I think it was towards the end of the year, of the calendar year, and we're sort of like saying, "Oh, this year, this is what I did. This is what I'm expecting to do." And so after she finished sharing, um, it was my turn to sort of just informally share what I'd accomplished or list what I'd accomplished. Um, as we're talking, as we're talking through the year, right? On the surface, the stuff that I was saying sounded good. It really did, because a lot of the things are what we want to gain or want to have. But something just didn't connect as I went from this to that. And I started to think, is this it? What if this is what year after year I'm just listing as accomplishing? This, there has to be more. Or is this it? What if I spend the rest of my life just performing? Well, I won't say just. What if I spend the rest of my life performing or just being able to say, oh, I did this, I have that, I got that, talking about the things that I did, talking about the things that I've done, that I'm going to do, things that people, again, typically admire on the outside, but don't quite give you that feeling of fulfillment or depth on the inside, leave you feeling empty, invisible in some cases. And so when I thought about it some more later when I got home, because this is where I'm on my journey, I've started to shift from fitness into working with women, high achieving women who are looking for a little bit more than just fitting into a particular size. And I also, too, the beauty of what I'm doing right now is I'm still in the process. So as I evolve and grow and get more understanding of what it feels like to not be performative, to not be trapped in that strong black woman trap cycle of doing and being one way when we really want to be another way. I share and I read, I learn. I also have coaches who help me. So that's the beauty of it. But anyway, when I thought about it some more, I could see that all the things that I'd worked so hard to keep hidden so that people wouldn't know, wouldn't see. Because to be honest with you, I think the hardest part of being a woman or being a successful person, successful woman, is being vulnerable. I think at some point it's almost easier for us to just keep going. But let me stay with what I want to share. So when I thought about it, I could see that all the things I'd worked so hard to keep hidden, to not share out, to not let people know. Um, I could see that that was a lot of what I was doing, even as I thought I was leaving. I don't know if that makes sense, right? So what really was underneath, or one of the things that was underneath my performance and my going and being strong and all, was my the desire not to show what was underneath, the desire not to be vulnerable. Because somehow, somewhere, the message had been communicated to me that being real, being honest, sharing the challenges, sharing that I really didn't feel worthy, that I didn't feel like I belonged, would make me would not make me feel loved, would make people turn away from people who didn't like what they saw. And so that was really what was driving this whole thing that I was doing. Um, so for me, that looked like maxing out credit cards, on shoes and clothes, crazy stuff. Sometimes I'd be willing to give my last dollar to someone who probably had more money than me at the time, but just so that I would look like I was together, you know. And and I also think about the people in my circle. A lot of them were with men they wish they'd never gotten involved with, keeping that on the wraps, hiding that, saying yes when they really didn't want to, choices that would ruin the picture perfect life that they thought they had, that they put forward, so that people wouldn't see that. These were the things driving myself and the others in my life. And so when I had that aha, that realization after the meeting with my friend, meeting, after hanging out with her at the restaurant, was what if all of this stayed hidden and we just kept that mask on forever? What type of life would that be? Can you imagine you're 80 and all you've done is acquire things, and you haven't really, even the experiences you had, you weren't yourself. So the people around you were not really people who were connected to you, because the version of you that connected with them was not the real version. So you're 80 and your life is winding down. Even if you live to be 100, you've lived more than half of it, right? And you're thinking, oh my goodness, what was this about? Because the shoes don't mean anything. They don't mean anything now, and I'm nowhere near 80, right? The clothes, all those things, they lose their allure after a while. I think from maybe 40, 50, really, right? So you're there and it's like you've hidden all these things because you thought that's what you had to do. You're conditioned, programmed by society, culturally. And so I thought, what if all of this stayed hidden and the mask stayed on? So that thought was really unsettling in a way like nothing else has ever been. And so, if you've ever thought, what if this is just my life forever? Whatever you're doing, if it's not, um, if you're not self actualizing, right? If you're not being who you were created to be, who you are on the inside, it's not matching who you are on the outside. Have you ever thought, or has the thought, if this is just the way I'm going to be forever, is this it? Is this the way that I'm just going to be forever? Let me know. I really want to know. I want to share. Um, I'd love for you to share just like I'm sharing, because I want to share this. What I know for a fact is that pretending, performing is where we are all really experiencing burnout, or like I was anyway at the time. And we tell ourselves it's work, it's this, because we are writing careers of success, we're doing all these different things, children, who are probably older, but it's not that. It's the mask. It's not the scheduled busy calendar, the project that you're working on. It's that mask. And until you take it off, right, there's no achievement that will ever feel enough or feel like it's enough. And so, again, have you ever asked yourself, or I'm asking you to ask yourself, have you ever felt a goal and thought, this should feel better than it does? Because now when people ask me what scared me the most, I see now that it's not failing, or it wasn't failing, or it wasn't losing. It was staying the same, staying in a life that looked somewhat perfect but never felt fulfilling or connected, or like me, even for that matter. And I know so many women who are quietly living in this same fear. So, this is where I ask you, if you are ready to take that first micro, mini, but potent step to stop pretending and finally feel alive, so that when you're 80, you are having memories of wonderful, beautiful, fun experiences. But not why even wait until 80, right? So that after this guy, you're having those experiences, or you start to have those experiences that feel real, that feel authentic, where you're not having to show up, where you're not having to pretend, where you're not having to where you can be vulnerable and feel safe, because that is unhooking from the strong black woman trap. If you're ready for that first step, The link to my High Achievers Guide is here somewhere below. I would love for you, I'm inviting you to download it and just follow those three simple potent shifts. You'll be amazed with an H, at how you will feel so light just by those three shifts. All right, so that's it. Tomorrow I'm going to share a small win, or the small wins that gave me hope, because thankfully, change doesn't start with this big thing. It's actually in the little things. So after this realization, I had small wins that really started to give me the change that has allowed me to do the work that I do and love to do and want to continue to do. So I'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.